In this tragic incident, a factory worker was performing his routine duties near a rotating section of heavy machinery, but he stepped just a little too close, and in an instant he was caught by the moving parts and pulled in. The force of the rotation caused fatal injuries before anyone could intervene. This is the kind of loss that should never happen on a job site. Machines must be guarded, lockout procedures must be followed, and workers must be trained to respect danger zones. One moment of contact with unprotected machinery is all it takes to turn a routine task into a life-ending disaster. In a tragic incident at a factory, a small crane lifter was being used to raise a large tile while a worker assisted nearby. Everything seemed routine, until the tile suddenly began to slip. Instead of stepping back, the assisting worker instinctively tried to stop it with his hands, but the weight was far too much. He lost his balance, fell to the ground, and the heavy tile came down on top of him, causing severe injuries. This is what happens when proper material handling protocols aren't followed. No worker should ever be close enough to catch a falling load. Coordination, communication, and strict exclusion zones are non-negotiable if we want everyone going home safe. At a car workshop, a worker was using a blowtorch on an object placed over an empty metal can, except the can wasn't really empty. Volatile gas trapped inside ignited instantly, shooting a blast of fire straight upward. The worker jumped back in shock but was thankfully unharmed. This is exactly why you never heat or weld on closed containers. One hidden pocket of vapor is all it takes to turn routine work into an explosion. CCTV captures a calm street around a food cart. Nothing unusual, just another normal day. Then out of nowhere, a hellbound car slams into the divider, jumps the lane, and comes tearing in on the wrong side. It plows straight into the parked cars and the food cart, turning a peaceful scene into chaos in seconds. A perfect example of how fast disaster arrives when someone behind the wheel loses control. Cranes are built to lift and move heavy materials on construction sites, but only within their limits. As the boom moves, the distance from the load's center of gravity to the crane's tipping axis changes. If that lift capacity is exceeded, if the load moves outside the safe range on the crane's load chart, or if the crane isn't set up properly, that machine can tip over in an instant. One mistake, one miscalculation, and the whole rig goes down. This incident shows exactly how unforgiving electrical work can be. An arc flash erupted from an energized line and passed straight through a lineman's body after a nearby worker accidentally grounded the stress cone. With no proper PPE, no physical barriers, and poor pre-task planning, a routine job instantly turned into a phase-to-ground fault that nearly killed 2 people. Electricity gives you 0-second chances. If it's energized, you treat it like it wants to take your life. The footage captures the shocking moment a driver plows straight into a Speedway gas station, sending customers and workers scrambling as debris flies. Several people were injured in the impact, and one victim was left in critical condition. Thankfully, despite the severity of the crash, no one lost their life. According to the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, the critically injured individual is still recovering. It's a stark reminder of how fast a normal day can turn into chaos when a vehicle goes out of control. An excavator was working on what looked like solid ground, but the cliff edge was far too narrow for the machine's movement. As the operator swung the excavator, the track shifted just a bit too close to the drop. In an instant, the entire machine slipped off the edge and went straight down. No tipping, no rolling, just a vertical fall. It's a brutal reminder that even stable ground becomes deadly when there's no room for error. One miscalculation near a cliff can turn routine work into a catastrophic drop. In this incident, a worker was operating heavy machinery when a critical part suddenly failed and broke loose. That broken piece shot out with massive force and struck him hard, causing severe injuries instantly. This is what happens when stressed equipment goes unchecked. There are no warnings, no second chances. Mechanical failure becomes a weapon. This case is a blunt reminder. Routine inspections, proper maintenance, and strict safety protocols aren't paperwork. They're what keep workers alive. At this site, a worker was loading gas cylinders the wrong way. He wasn't placing them, he was throwing them into the truck. And that's exactly how accidents happen. One cylinder hit the truck's edge, bounced straight back, and slammed into him with serious force. Gas cylinders aren't harmless tubes, they're high-pressure vessels. Mishandle them, and they can injure you, damage equipment, or in the worst case, explode. This incident is a textbook example of why proper lifting, secure handling, and basic respect for hazardous materials are non-negotiable on any job site. In this video, 2 workers are trying to handle massive glass sheets with nothing but their hands, no lifters, no braces, no safety setup. As they shift the panels, the weight and momentum take over, the sheets slip, crash to the floor, and explode into shards. One slab drops straight onto a worker, pinning him under the shattered glass. He's clearly seriously injured and unable to move. This is exactly what happens when heavy fragile materials are handled without proper equipment, trained personnel, or a controlled work area. Glass doesn't forgive mistakes, and this scene is a painful reminder that safety protocols exist for a reason. In this clip, we're at a factory where teamwork apparently took the day off. One guy's standing near a truck, and the other is cruising around on a little lifter like he's parking a scooter. With zero visibility, and even less communication, the driver never notices the coworker basically right in the danger zone. One wrong move later, the lifter clips him hard, and the worker goes down with serious injuries. It's the kind of moment that reminds you loading zones aren't freestyle areas. If people aren't talking, watching, and actually following safety rules, heavy machinery will happily do the talking for them. In this clip, things take a terrifying turn around a running roller machine. A worker steps in to check something while it's still operating, already a bad setup, and he gets just a little too close. In a split second, the rollers grab his hand and drag him in completely, and the force is way beyond anything a person can fight. There's no quick save, no escape, and the outcome is fatal. It's a brutal reminder that machines don't negotiate. If protocols aren't followed to the letter, one small slip can cost everything. In this clip, we've got a worker running heavy machinery and getting a little too close to the action. He leans in to inspect the process, and out of nowhere, the machine fires off a burst of material like it's launching a surprise attack. The hit is intense, knocks him back instantly, and the injury is clearly serious. That kind of impact only happens when there's missing protection, bad maintenance, or both. It's a harsh reminder that machines don't warn you before they snap. Without proper guarding and solid safety checks, one unexpected reaction can turn into a life-threatening moment. In this clip, things go bad almost instantly around a heavy rolling machine. A worker is standing a little too close, his clothing brushes the moving parts, and the machine grabs him like it's been waiting for the chance. In seconds, he's pulled in and forced to rotate with the rollers, and it's one of those situations where every second counts and the danger is extreme. Moments like this are exactly why moving machinery demands distance, proper gear, and strict procedures, because it only takes one slip for everything to go from normal to life-threatening. In this clip, we're watching a processing line where heavy wooden logs are rolling through machinery, and one worker is standing just a little too close without realizing what could go wrong. Everything looks routine until one log suddenly slips out of the mechanism and shoots straight toward him. The hit is brutal, knocks him down instantly, and the injuries are clearly severe. It's the kind of moment that shows how fast things can go sideways when machines aren't guarded properly, and people aren't aware of the danger zones. One loose log is all it takes to turn a normal shift into an emergency. In this clip, a routine unloading job goes horribly wrong because safety protocols were basically ignored. 3 workers are literally holding up a massive steel plate by hand while another one is being unloaded from the truck, and you can already see where this is going. The moment the weight shifts, everything collapses into chaos. One plate tips, knocks into the next, and suddenly you've got a full domino effect with multiple steel sheets crashing down and crushing the workers underneath. Heavy steel doesn't do second chances, and this is exactly why proper equipment and real procedures aren't optional on a job like this. In this clip, a routine railway maintenance job turns tragic in seconds. A crew is working along the tracks, and some of them start setting up a metal ladder right under high-tension overhead wires, already a dangerous combo. As they lift the ladder, it makes contact with the live line, and the electric shock is instant and brutal. The workers holding the ladder take the full force and collapse on the spot. It's a devastating reminder that electricity doesn't forgive mistakes. When you're anywhere near live lines, you need strict protocols, real training, and non-conductive tools, because one wrong move can turn a normal shift into a fatal disaster. In this clip, a crane is lifting a heavy load of iron material, and everything looks routine until it suddenly isn't. A worker standing nearby is manually adjusting the load way too close for comfort when a structural failure hits out of nowhere. The material snaps loose, swings down, and slams into him with full force, leaving him severely injured. It's one of those moments that shows exactly how fast lifting operations can turn dangerous when communication slips and safety steps get skipped. Heavy loads don't warn you before they break, and working close to them without proper control is a disaster waiting to happen. In this clip, we're inside a food factory where 2 workers are going about their routine near a heating machine. One of them opens a large oven door, and the moment it swings open, the whole thing erupts in a burst of flames. Whether it's trapped heat, a gas issue, or bad ventilation, the fire comes out fast. Both workers are standing way too close and get hit immediately. It's a scary reminder that high-temperature equipment isn't forgiving, especially when safety steps slip. In a setup like this, coordination, maintenance, and real awareness aren't optional. One small oversight can turn into an emergency in seconds. In this clip, 2 workers are up on scaffolding doing what looks like routine maintenance, but they're operating at a serious height where one wrong move can change everything. While they're working, one of them suddenly loses balance and there's no time to recover. He falls hard and the injuries are severe. It's the kind of moment that shows how unforgiving height work really is. Without proper harnessing, stable footing, and strict safety checks, even a normal task can turn into a life-threatening drop in seconds. In this clip, a worker is up on a truck dealing with a huge steel piece that's been tied down with ropes. Instead of securing the load properly, he goes straight for cutting the ropes, and the moment they snap, the entire metal slab shifts like it's been waiting to drop. It knocks him off the truck instantly, and the steel comes crashing down right on top of him, causing brutal injuries. It's a harsh reminder that heavy materials don't give warnings. Without proper planning, stabilizing, and real safety protocol, one careless cut can turn into a life-threatening accident in seconds. In this clip, a worker is securing materials to a truck and positions himself right under the loading area to tie a thread, already a risky spot to be in. As he's working, one of the heavy pieces suddenly slips from above and drops straight onto his head, leaving him with a serious injury on impact. It's one of those moments that shows how fast things can go wrong when people stand in danger zones. With proper positioning, barriers, or even basic safety checks, this accident could have been completely avoided. In this clip, a worker is cleaning near a massive upright round material, the kind of thing that should never be left standing without proper support. He's focused on his task, not realizing how unstable it is, and in a split second, the whole thing tips over. The material comes crashing down on him with fatal force, and there's no time to react. It's a heartbreaking reminder that on industrial sites, anything heavy and upright is a hazard waiting to happen. Proper securing and proactive safety checks aren't optional. They're what keep tragedies like this from happening. In this clip, two workers in an iron workshop are trying to muscle up a heavy metal piece by hand. No equipment, just pure strain. The weight is clearly too much, and one of them starts to lose balance. He stumbles into the materials already on the ground, and that split second of chaos makes him lose his grip. The metal drops straight onto his legs, and the injury is instantly severe. It's a rough reminder that heavy lifting isn't a teamwork flex. Without proper tools, support, and safety steps, one slip can turn into a serious accident fast. A factory shift takes a tragic turn when two workers are moving around an active roller machine. One of them tries to cross over it, assuming everything's shut down, but the rollers are still running. The moment he steps close, they catch him and pull him in with incredible force, leaving him no chance to escape. It's a heartbreaking reminder that machinery doesn't care about assumptions. If it isn't fully powered down and locked out, even a routine move can turn fatal in seconds. A forklift is parked and holding position while another one approaches without really checking its surroundings. The moving driver doesn't notice the stationary forklift ahead, and unfortunately a worker is standing right between the two. In a split second, the approaching forklift rolls forward and crashes into the parked one, trapping the worker in the middle. The impact is severe, and so are the injuries. It's a tough reminder that forklifts demand full attention and clear communication. One missed glance can turn a normal shift into a life-threatening accident. Workers in a factory are getting ready to lift a heavy load with a crane, and a team gathers around to secure the material before it's hoisted up. Everything looks routine until the tying fails, whether from bad securing or a mechanical issue, and the entire load slips without warning. It drops straight onto one of the workers helping with the setup, leaving him with devastating injuries. It's a brutal reminder that lifting operations don't give second chances. If the load isn't secured properly, supervised correctly, and backed by the right gear, one mistake can turn into a life-threatening disaster. A worker climbs onto the top of a tanker to inspect one of the open caps, thinking it's just a routine check, but whatever's inside, liquid gas or trapped pressure, is far from stable. The moment he leans in, a sudden explosion blasts out of the opening and launches him off the tanker with violent force. He hits the ground hard and suffers critical injuries. It's a stark reminder that pressurized or volatile substances don't give warnings, and working around confined tanks without proper testing, venting, and safety checks can turn a simple inspection into a life-threatening disaster. A crane is lifting a set of steel materials across a factory site, and several workers are standing nearby as it moves. The load isn't stabilized the way it should be, and as the crane shifts direction, the entire bundle starts to sway. Before anyone can react, the steel swings wide and slams into one of the workers with massive force, leaving him seriously injured. It's a harsh reminder that lifting operations demand distance, control, and proper rigging, because one unstable load is all it takes for a routine lift to turn into a dangerous, avoidable accident.